Hello, in this video we will look into some AI Center concepts. So while going through the UiPath Academy training program for the AI Center, I came across this AI Center main concepts. Now, we have used the AI Center, but we have also seen the different components in the AI Center that is available. But have we really looked into the definition and what those things really mean? I don't think so. We have just gone through the flow to get our stuff done, but I think there's a little bit more towards that. So that's why I thought of doing this short video just to explain these concepts or the different components that we see in the AI Center, starting from the very first screen. So let's quickly go to the automation cloud. And over here we have the AI Center. So once we go to the AI Center, the first screen that you see is the projects screen. So this is where we can create our projects. And let's quickly go into one of these projects. Once you're inside a project, here also you will see several screens. The dashboard, datasets, data labeling, ML packages, pipelines, skills, logs, and settings. These are the different components that we see in AI Center. Each of these components address a specific scenario, and these are the little things that we need to know. So just by the name, we know that, okay, when it comes to data sets, it's all about storing data. But for what? And when it comes to data labeling, what does this do? So let's quickly look into the definition of this. So I'm going to the UiPath Academy AI Center overview course here, and over here we have the main concepts of the AI Center. So the first one that we saw is the project. So in the project screen, what does a project mean? So according to the definition here, a project in AI Center is an isolated group of resources. And when you say resources, what are the things that are inside that resource or the project or the isolated group is the data set, pipelines, packages, skills, and logs. So why do we say that? It's because over here, whatever the project that you create, every time you get inside a project, you will see the same exact options over here. We will see the data sets, we will see the packages, pipelines, and skills. So these are the main resources that are available in a project. The data set is, we will also see what those things are, and you might wonder why the data labeling is not here. I'll explain that to you in a bit, because ideally that should also be a part of this thing, right? But it's slightly different. So let's see the next step, and I'll tell you why it is not here. So the next one is the data set. And the real definition of the data set is it is a container of data points to be used by the machine learning model. So you can also say that this is a container that can hold the different data that's needed to be used by the model to train the model and also to evaluate the trained model to make sure its accuracy or the performance. So that is a data set. In a data set, you can do a lot more things, but we will look into those things a bit later. But in high level, this is what a data set is. Then here we have the data labeling. So what happens in the data labeling is data labeling is always connected with the data set. And what do we do in a data labeling? We do train the models. So if we go into the AI Center again, if we create a data labeling session down here, So I'll just say demo session. You can see that it is always connected to a data set. If we don't have a data set created, we can create a data set. And this data set will be the data labeling session is getting connected to that. And whatever we do in this data labeling session, whether it's the document understanding or whether it's the OOB labeling, all those things will at the end get exported into the data set that you created. So all your training data will be at the end will be saved in the data set itself. And that is why in the project it is not mentioned here because it is already included under datasets. So the definition of data labeling is a tab where you can deploy labeling sessions to prepare data sets for training and evaluation. So there you go. For both purposes where we use a data set, data labeling will be used. And then comes the machine learning packages. Under ML packages, you will see all the things that are needed for you to start your machine learning engagements. So what is the ML package? You can say it as a folder with all the code and metadata needed to train and serve a machine learning model. So what is exactly a package here? So once we go into AI Center ML packages, we see a lot of packages under out of the box. You can also upload your own package. So if you go inside these things, what are these? These are actually pre-built machine learning models. So how did it get here? It has a code running behind it, and we have all these things available under out of the box or under different other options. And that is the machine learning model. We call it a package because it has everything that's needed for us to train and run it to do the predictions. So that's why we call it as the code and metadata that is needed to run these processes. And the next one is the pipeline. Pipeline can be defined as it can be defined as a ML flow that includes all the functions to order of execution and inputs and the types of outputs. We have a pipeline that we have several types of pipelines. We have the training pipeline, we have the evaluation pipeline, and we have the full pipeline. Full pipeline is a combination of training and evaluation both. You can run a single pipeline to perform all of these things. But what happens in the pipeline is you give a set of inputs and it processes it by applying the different functions available for each pipeline type like training and evaluation. And at the end, you also get an output. The output could be if it's the evaluation pipeline, it could be the evaluation results. Or else if it's a training pipeline, it could be the updated package that you can use to do the predictions on your data. So that is why it says it includes a set of functions to do the execution, and for that we will also need the input, and you can also define the types of output. So now if we look into the pipeline, for each pipeline there will be different inputs. You have the pipeline, let's say the training, you have the pipeline name, you can select the package. You can also provide the environment variables if there are any. So the use of these variables can depending on the package that you are using. So for example, if it's the object detection, the input values will be different. If it's the classification model, the input parameters will be different and so on. So there will be several inputs that you need to give, and at the end, as the output, it will give you the analysis results or the trained model that you can use. So make sure you remember these definitions. And lastly, not the last one, but when it comes to the ML skill, this is more of a live deployment of an ML package. So once you have done the training, or if you use out of the box pre-trained model, once you deploy it as a skill, that will be your live deployment that you will be able to connect with your studio through different methods. So this is the skill, and this is always what is going to get connected with the studio. The next one, this is the last one, ML logs. So in the logs, it basically just like how you use the studio. When you run a process, it will tell you in the log section what happened. So just like that, in the AI Center also, we will have a log section, and that will basically give you a consolidated view of all the events related to the different models you have in a project in AI Center. It will not show the entire logs. These logs will be separate for each project, because if you go here again, if you go to the AI Center, you will not see a logs page here. Those logs are always inside this project. Whatever the project you go, there will be a separate log section where you can see the different logs. And again, what are these different logs? We will look at those things a bit later. But these are the main things that you need to know as a part of the AI Center and the main concepts of the different components that we see in AI Center. Hope this is helpful for you to get an overview of the different components to support your learning journey. So always refer to the content in the UiPath Academy learning plan and refer to these videos as well for a little bit of extra information. Okay, so here we have a question. Let's also try this just to see how it looks like. So the question is, how is the ML model deployed in an automation workflow in UiPath? So based on our knowledge so far, let's try to answer this. So it is asking, how is the model deployed in an automation workflow in UiPath? Let's see the first one. Each email is sent to AI Center where the ML algorithm classifies it and communicates the decision back. Next one is ML package is deployed to the automation workflow through an ML skill and a specific UiPath Studio activity. ML package is deployed to automation workflow inside a switch activity, deployed to the automation workflow using managed packages. Okay, what do you think the correct answer is? So we know that all the models come in as a package. So it has to be a ML package deployed in an automation workflow through ML skill, because earlier I explained that skill is the one that is being used in the studio. This has to be the correct answer. Let's see whether it is the correct. Yes. So this is one example. We also have another question. Let's have a look at this one also. So here what they're asking is, where is the outcome of the human input in an automation workflow involving machine learning models from AI Center is sent to? So in simple words, they're asking where is the human input is sent to when it comes to a scenario where machine learning models are used. So don't get confused here. It is saying the output of the human input. So let's see the answers. It can be sent to AI Center for retraining. It can be sent to Action Center for retraining, and it can be moved to DU process for retraining and also saved in apps. So in this scenario, it is saying outcome of the human input. So it is not the Action Center. Action Center, whatever that goes to Action Center is waiting for human input. Since it's saying output of the human input, it is referring to what happens after that. So in that case, all the human input data we will be sent, we will be sending to AI Center to use it for the retraining purposes. So that's the idea behind the use of manually verified data. So that is the correct answer. Okay, here we have the next question. AI Center concepts with the definition. Okay, so now we looked at the definition earlier. So let's see where these things fit into. So we have the project, ML package, dataset, skill, and the pipeline. So the first one, the description of an ML workflow including input data and the ML package. Okay, and the second one is a folder with all the code and metadata needed to train and serve. So this is the ML package because this is where it contains the code and the metadata. An isolated group of resources related to a specific ML solution. It is a project because earlier we talked about the isolated group where you have all the data sets, skills, pipelines, and so on. A container of data points to be used by the machine learning model. Data points used by the machine learning model, it is the data set. A live deployment of an ML package is the ML skill, and this is the one, ML workflow including the input data and the ML package. It's probably this. And that's it. So you get the idea why we need to know the definitions of these things. So with that, we are coming to the end of this video. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in another video focused on the specialized AI certification. Until then, have a good day.